Good afternoon everyone, it's Rachel here on a Saturday and I am here to do a little video by Karine, To Be Loved Treasures by Karine. She requested it. So I had mentioned that I am doing a quilt. I've started a quilt for Lulu. And basically the quilt is inspired by Mum's quilt that she made. Her mum made just a little lap quilt here, and it's just really beautiful pieces of fabric. Look, she even had monogrammed an L. It's just beautiful pieces of fabric that she has cantha stitched in place. And I just Mum wanted me to back it, but I'm actually just going to put some binding around it so it stops fraying, because I love the back of it. I might, trim off any long strands, but I think it's heavy enough, because then you're not going to go and quilt it because it's already been canthed. So I feel like the backing is nice enough. It's just a calico and have a nice binding, and it's just a lap quilt that can be thrown on Lulu's knee. And I usually keep it here on the back of my chair because obviously it's not big enough for her bed. But Lulu, we put it on her bed the other day and she said, oh, I'd love a full-size quilt like that. I do want to just keep the integrity of this one. Look, Mum's added pieces of old, which I didn't notice before, and I have lots of old cutter quilts, so I might add little pieces of quilt like Mum has. This is just going to stay a lap quilt, but Lulu loves the colours as well, so it's the sort of raspberry reds, the blues, and some pink I think she would like, and a little bit of red, like red might slip in there if it goes. So first of all I wanted to show you, Karine asked me, because she is starting a series. Look at that, isn't that the most beautiful fabric ever? That's an old one. She is starting a series, and I'm so excited, Karine, and so honored. She's going to be using as her main inspiration my fabrics, and I'm just really honored by it because Karine is the most incredible stitcher. And I will be following along Karine, and I may even do some because it'll be inspiring for me to be able to use my fabrics, because I don't always find time. And I can't guarantee that I'll do lots of videos, but I will definitely be watching. So my papers are here getting in the way. Let me just move those out of the way. I'm going to pull out everything out of my room today and do a big clean and see if I can sort myself out a bit. Anyway, so I was talking about it with Mum, because obviously Lulu's bed is a double bed. So that's really hard. That would be really hard. Like, I thought about getting like an old linen or like a light hemp sheet and working on that, but imagine the weight of that and trying to get into the center of it and manage your tack down pieces and keep them straight and not buckling and puffing and all that sort of thing. So what my thought is to do it in sort of blocks. So I have a roll of this, and actually I had been cutting this up and putting it in my hemp packs, which I am now going to be slowly, once I finish the ones I've made, I'm going to discontinue that type and do just bigger pieces, I think. Anyway, this, I was wondering, one lady had received my packs and she's like, oh, you put a lot of cotton in. And I'm like, well, I don't actually put a lot of cotton in my hemp packs. I think you're not recognizing the fabrics. It's because what's tricky with hemp and linen is they have different weights. So the hemp you can get a really fine hemp and you can get really coarse hemps, and some of them are fine and some of them are really consumed, so they're thinner and softer, and some of them are really coarse and stiff. But what I tried to put in those packs are ones that are sort of friendly to our fingers when we're trying to stitch, and this is one of the fabrics that is in there. And I said to her that the lace on the top is cotton, and there had been in the past, if I do put a piece of cotton in it, it's probably a hand towel that has a stripe on it, and it's old, and so I did include it because I like those things. But generally there's not any cotton in my packs. And I said, the only one I'm not sure about is this one. But now that I'm looking at this, I didn't remember that it had this bit, because this is made for making hand towels, see? And you're meant to cut down the middle and then knot and get your little tassels on the end. Oh, yeah, so it'd only be a little hand towel. And I couldn't tell. I thought it was linen, but I couldn't tell. But if I look here, this is linen. You can see the linen thread there. So this is actually linen anyway. Because I have quite a bit of it, and I thought this is a nice size. I don't know what size it is. I don't think I have. Let me just see if I've got my measuring tapes in the other room. Just a second. Do I have another one? I did. Oh, no measuring tape. I had a drawer of them. I must have moved them. Anyway, I don't know how big it is, but it's a decent size, and I thought that's actually a really good size to work on and then attach them together. So I'm wondering if I need 3 or 4 of these to go right across Lulu's bed, and maybe 5 or 6 to go for the length. And as I build it up, I will do more. And now you might be wondering, how are you going to attach those? So that brings me to, I'll pull out the piece that I've started to show you. And I've done quite a bit of it actually. I only started it the other day. And and I've put in a lot. Lulu loves my fabric, so she wants those in. She did ask for that. And I wonder if I can zoom out. Oh, I can. Oh, you don't want to see me. Let me just move you over and I'll zoom out a bit so you can see a bit more of my desk. Move those out of the way. Okay, so that's the fabric on the back, and I think that's really going to be a really nice backing. Now, that just happened. That's the bottom. So this is my bottom left-hand corner of my quilt. So I've gone just sort of as flush as I can along the edge, and that I'll trim it off or something. Now what I thought was I'm going to be attaching up here, and I'm also going to be attaching here. So first of all, you can see my cantha stitching. First of all, I tacked everything down. Now, you need to be really careful with that. Make sure you overlap them enough, because otherwise they slip out. And really tack them down well all around the edges, so that way they're not coming up, puckering up. And your bigger pieces, especially the bigger pieces, the ones at the back, need to be done first, and then you do the ones on the top. And don't forget, you can always add more. So I might look at this here and say, oh, I feel like I need something more here. So I'll talk about that in a second. But so just to give you an idea of the fabrics, that's my ticking, and I'm getting low on that one. That's one of the 1800s fabrics I bought in France with Lulu. These are mine. That's one of my pages that I just cut and chose that piece. This is one of my, I can't remember which one it came from. It might be the Soft Blues linen meterage, but I'm not selling it by the meter. And that's my pinks there. Because it's got the pinky reds in, and I thought that's really nice. And Lulu also loves the script, so I want to make sure I put enough script in there. And then I put in, I think I might have showed that in my video. No, I didn't. I got I don't know what it was, but it's a lovely old linen. I got that in Arles. This is the one from the expensive lady, the 1800s one. And also that one there. Excuse the papers. This is a piece of mine. Another piece of mine that I know that's from the blues. That's another piece of mine, and that's just a mid-century lovely floral. I can't remember if it's French or English. And that one Lulu chose in France. It's early 1900s, I believe, or maybe late 1800s. I don't know. So I particularly like this type as well, because that for me functions like a check or a stripe. It's kind of, even though it's got like, it's patterned, it's not like a over the top floral. So I kind of like to place them, the florals here and there, and then have more things like check stripes or sort of that sort of thing in between, and some script. So then my next point is I've overlapped it. I've let these pieces come probably 2 or 3 centimeters above, and 2 or 3 centimeters here to the right, because I'm going to build it to the right. This is my bottom left hand corner, remember. So what I thought was, then when I tacked, I just sort of tacked along the edge, so I know where my edge is, it's defined. I'm doing my cantha stitching right to there, and I'll do my cantha stitching when I get to it over here, right to there, to where my tacking stitch is going down, and do it in a color that you can see. So that way, I thought, now I've got a double piece here, but I think I might cut it because I don't think I want to work on extra huge pieces. This is the thread that I was using, just a sewing machine thread. So I've got 2 here. But what I want to do is, I think it's a nice way to rejoice this old piece of fabric as well, because it has the lovely diamond pattern. I think that's the correct way. So I put this, what I felt like was the correct way out so that you can see it. And let's just bring this across, because this is good for me because I haven't gotten that far, but I think I'll finish this by the end of the weekend, because you probably can't see my canther stitching, but that's all canthered, that's halfway, and a bit beyond halfway. I've done all of this, I've done all of that to there, so I've got to do this, just this bit around here is all that's left to do, except for the tiny bit up there. So I'm going to finish that. I won't get it done today, but one awesome thing that I mentioned to Lulu, because she's doing her pillow. See, this is a big piece, okay? When you're doing the big piece, like here, I went so crooked. I don't know if you can see my stitches there, but I really went crooked. I can't go straight to save my life. But you know, don't worry about it. It just once you get all the stitching in it, you don't really notice. But I had to, like, these stitch rows are really close here, and then they go further apart because I'd sort of messed up a bit. What you can do, which is what you do, I think, in quilting as well, is you could have a masking tape to get you, even just once or a few rows with masking tape, and just to get yourself going, and then do it without masking tape. Before we get on to the connecting, another thing I wanted to say is I'm going to come back in. I might come back in with some little damaged quilt bits like Mum did, or come back in if I can find some, because I can't tell you the mess, guys. I've been so busy, I just haven't been tidying up. I'm talking louder so you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. I wanted to come in, oh gosh, of course I can't find any. I did want to come in with some scripty bits. I'm not finding what I'm thinking. I've got that, and I have that, but that could be an example. Let's see. Not those. Anyway, I wanted to come in with some of my, my ephemera. I've got linen and I've got cotton. I'll have to go and get them. But what I'm going to do is I could just tear something like that. I'm just folding it so you can sort of get the gist. I might come back and tear something like that. I had an overhang. I didn't like that overhang. So I probably won't do this one there, but like come in and then canther stitch that over the top. So we'll be coming in with little bits and pieces of, something like that. Could then come and be canthered on. I don't know. I don't have exactly what I wanted to talk about that. And then the other thing is, if I were to find like a lovely embroidery that I feel like looks nice, Lulu didn't ask for embroideries, but I may put that in my base here and there. I may put a vintage embroidery in when I'm putting my base fabrics down here and there. So that could also happen. There's another thought. The other thing I'm doing is I'm taking, like, I feel like any of this is going to work in well. The colors in this is going to work in well with Lulu's quilt. So for example, my next thing, we wanted to talk about joining them. Let me just show you. So here we have, I'm trying not to make all my papers fall off the side of the table as well, because I should have taken everything off the table. So to join it, my thoughts were, is I'm only going to stitch to my tacking. It will be a little bit fiddly, but I'll show you. I'm going to overlap it slightly, and so that'll be a little bit tough on my hands, but I'll overlap it, pin it, I'll line them up. They're not lined up properly. Overlap it, pin it, and then canther stitch it together. That's how it's going to go together. And then what I'll do is, let me grab some scissors. There's an abundance of those flying around. I'm not going to put such a large expanse, although I could. Let's just see what this is going to look like. I'm just taking off. Well, I don't need to worry about that because that could be underneath. that can be underneath as well at the top. So making sure I overlap it the 3 centimeters. I do this on my kitchen table because it's easier. And I'll put that up there. I think I might cut. Do I want to cut it? I think I will. I think I prefer a piece this size. Yeah. So I'm not worrying about my borders. Like that could then come in somewhere else and just have a little patch of it somewhere if I need to. But that will go up there. And this is how I approach it. I just wanted to give you an idea of that. So I probably don't have, I didn't bring a lot in here. I still need to wash some of the fabrics. This is the Boussac fabric, which I absolutely love, and I think it's perfect, but I'm not going to put that, there because then that's too close to that. I think I'm going to have, I need something a bit darker like this one over here, which I can see that you can see that, or something. I don't want blue. See, if I had a red check, I would put that in, but oh, I have this one. See, this is what I love these for. There's only 3. This is a beautiful linen. And I would, my mum uses this stuff she's used it everywhere in hers. I think I would take something like this that has both the colors. So let's cut a piece of this. So you don't need huge pieces. You need some bigger pieces, but not huge. And I like to, this is how, I mean, wonderful Sandra gave me a rotary cutter. And I've been using that to cut my fabric. I still am not perfect, but it is better. So I would use a piece of that. Let's see, and put that there. I would have to take the hemming off where it's been hemmed because I don't want to stitch through that. Now what I have found, and my mum said the same, like the cotton is not tough to stitch at all because it's cotton. However, the nicest one to stitch is the linen because your needle literally just slides through the linen and there's just no pressure on your hands at all. So I would like that one to go, so I'm doing under and over. You don't want to have everything all the same. So I'm going to put that there. I don't want to cover those flowers, but I need to slide it back over here a bit, and I would have that like that. So it kind of amalgamates it. So excited to see what you do, Karine. And then what else can we have? I probably don't have enough fabrics in here. See, these fabrics are good because you can just choose a different piece and you get a different look. So for example, I could choose this piece here. I'm just going to cut across there. I'm not going to have a big piece. I might have a little piece. Or I could actually, and these are just my leftover bits and pieces from when I'm cutting off the roll, because of course I don't work out my measurements properly of how I'm going to provide the pieces to everyone. I didn't sort of calculate correctly what I might need, you know, the measurement so that it would fit properly in the 1 meter. There you go, I'm not expressing myself properly. And that one I might put over there. So that's how I'm approaching it. But what I would do here is not pin this bit. I might photograph it where it's joining. I'll pin all of these bits onto their piece and then slide this out. And I might put I might put a post-it on this that this is, or write somewhere that this is number 1. I'll put a post-it on this one, number 1, and this is number 2. And I'm going to build it up with blocks like that. Then the same thing at the top, I'll do another block and then I'll attach it at the top in the same way that I'm going to attach this. But I'm not going to attach this and then work on it. Or I could do that. I could do that. My other thought was I could go across horizontally, like work on this piece, then attach this piece, and then cantha stitch all of that, then attach the next piece going across to the right and cantha stitch all of that until I've got the width that I want. And then I could prepare another strip. so I could do the same process and do another strip the same size, because I'm using always this, which is great. I don't have to measure. So I could do another strip, you know, across the top. I might need 4, I don't know. I have to measure Lulu's bed. I'm just winging it. So I could then slowly work across another strip, then I could work across another strip, and then it will be fiddly, but in the same way. Then across, I would attach the whole strips. I have to decide what is going to be the easiest way, but what I'll do is I will keep you up to date with my process, is what I'm thinking. So, yeah, put your base down on your block that you're going to work on. Leave it overhanging, especially on the first one. You're going to have it overhanging so that you can attach your other pieces, and at the top, at the bottom, you don't need to overhang. And then the next row, the next one at the top, I don't have to overhang at the bottom. I've overhung at the top. So then I slide it under, cantha stitch it down to hold it together. Yeah, so, and what I would do here is then tack this down and then cantha stitch it all. Yeah, I could decide this. I could put this, it's a bit stark white, but I might look for other ones, but that could look really nice slid in there, just to give you different ideas of different things to put in. But this is really going to be very simple sort of quilt, totally cantha stitched, and not really, I'm not planning on doing any embroidery or anything like that. Karine's is going to be more complex. It's going to have embroidery and all kinds of things, so definitely well worth a watch. I will link her channel in the description box. But yeah, I'm super excited to watch that, Karine. It's really wonderful. So just to recap, I'm working on, my base is this. So you might just have a calico and cut it a certain size that you want. You don't have to know my size. It doesn't matter what size. It's quite big. It's actually a bit of a rectangle, this one. So I've laid down my fabrics. I actually did trim off this bit here. I laid down my fabrics on top, tack them down, overhang about 3 centimeters, let's say 1.5 inches top and on the side. Where I'm going to attach my next pieces, overhang 1.5 inches, 3 centimeters. Cantha stitch just to the edge of my fabric here and leave the rest loose. And then slide under my next piece of this there and choose all my fabrics. And I'm still deciding whether I might start attaching it, or will I work on, slide that piece off, do the cantha stitching to a certain point, and then slide it back on and then continue cantha stitching. I'm kind of leaning more towards attaching them and doing big long strips and then attaching the strips at the end. In which case you will need a big table to be able to lay it out and then pin it, and I would even stitch while I'm on the big table so that I can get it all flat. So that bit will be a bit fiddly, but I am leaning more towards doing the long strip across the width of what I want for the bed, and then making 3 or 4 strips like that and then attaching them at a later, you know, when they're all done. I think that's the easiest way in my mind to work on it. So there you go. That's what's happening with Lulu's quilt. It's totally cantha stitched. The one last thing I wanted to point out to you is Mum often changes direction. So on this square she'll go horizontal, on this one she might go vertical. This one I would tend to go vertical, that one I then might go horizontal or vertical, I don't know. But on Lulu's one, I saw that she pretty much went just right across. I'm on, to keep it interesting for myself, I'm actually, each block is, this one I went right across here. Yep, that and that I did all across. This I'm going to do downwards. That one I might go down. There I might go down, those 3. This one I tend to feel like I want to go horizontal. This one I'll go vertical. That one I think I'll go horizontal, and that one I'll go vertical. That, just to give you an idea sort of thing. But I am thinking I might slip in a few embroideries here and there, but canthed into it like the rest of it, to just so it all blends in. So I hope that was useful. I just wanted to say a quick thing. I saw there's a post in the Facebook group, people struggling with the project, and I kind of feel like there's, because there's the tricky words, field notes, that it's thrown people for a loop. And of course it's much easier to do field notes in paper, but we're doing fabric and we're challenging ourselves. So my thoughts about that, I think you need to identify maybe it's not the project for you, this one. Maybe you want to sit this one out. But also, I think there's a lot of overthinking going on. I think, when you think about field notes, what is it? It's beige backgrounds with script, and they, have writing and then elements on top. So it's fairly simple. Like mine's fairly simple. Like there's nothing complex going on in mine. Let me just grab it. It's not overly complicated. Like I've got my beige background with my fabric. I'm not covering it all. I'm doing a little bit of stitching here and there. I'm putting feature elements on top, and that's it. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just representing the prompts in some way. So I didn't want mine to look like down the garden path, but you might want yours to look like a flourishing field notey sort of garden or forest. It's your project. You need to do what you want. I think also, like saying we're being inspired by Edith Holden, it's really just, she was just observing and portraying the pretty things that she was seeing each season or each month or whatever. We're not doing months, we're doing seasons. We're doing 3 prompts a season. We're not getting bogged down or what's flourishing in this month or that month, because otherwise you'll really get confused. Just putting the little pretty elements that remind you of that period of time. If you want to be inspired by Edith Holden, I took that flower, I hand drew it, but you can trace a flower out of her drawings and embroider it. That was from Edith Holden. I just looked at it and drew it simply and embroidered it. You don't look at that and think that's from Edith Holden, but that's where the inspiration came from. She has butterflies in her pictures. Put a butterfly. There you go. You've been inspired by Edith Holden. She has little bits of writing. So if you don't have what I have, you can. I did a video. You can stamp. I think if you're confused but you still want to do the project, keep it simple. Plain background, a little bit of script, and the prompt. That's all you need to do. I'm just trying to help because there were quite a few people that are saying that they're confused, and there's so much inspiration by the people also participating in the project. There's so much on Instagram and in the Facebook group. There's lots of people like Karine doing videos, giving out lots of ideas. Sally West, she's Sally West in the group. I can't remember. Was it Dottie B? Is that you, Sally? I don't know. There's just click on the hashtag on YouTube and all the videos will come up, because if they put the hashtag in their video, in their title, then they will come up as videos. So that can also be helpful. But I think identify what is it that is causing you grief with the project. Is it the word field notes? Of course, it's easy in paper. So try and think of the paper. Like I'm trying to think of the paper in the fabric, and I feel like if you keep a fairly neutral background with a bit of script and then the prompt, you're going to be good to go. So just focus on the prompt and don't listen to all the noise all around you, all the things in your head saying, oh no, I don't know what that is. Like I too, it's hard for me too, but I'm just keeping it simple and putting in things that I like and keeping my background reasonably neutral. And I'm noticing that when I place things, I'm not wanting to cover everything up because I like the neutral background, and to me it's making me feel like it's a little bit field notey, even though it's really not. And you can pop in a piece of lace, and you can see I kept the fabrics more neutral around here. Stamp a piece of fabric and put it behind, and then it's kind of like someone was taking notes, even though they're not. That was a bill from a restaurant, but it doesn't matter. We don't know that. Well, you do now. This was from a No, that was in the natural book. That was in the Buffon natural book. That was already stamped on the page. No, I didn't. I put that there. But I did that digitally. But you could stamp it. You can get stamps that are kind of looking a little bit like that. So, yeah. So I'm just trying to help. I hope that does help anyone who's stuck. Karine's doing a really clever thing. She's got recycled, or looks like watercolor sort of paper, and she's gluing each panel that she creates for the prompt on the page, if I'm correct. So you could also do it that way. You don't have to do the accordion. I mean, we just wanted to do, we like to try and do something different, like the format different every time, so as not to be monotonous. But, you know, there are lots of great ideas out there other than what we're doing. Yeah, so there we go. There's my lecture. Just trying to help, just trying to be helpful. If you're wanting to participate, as I said, maybe the project this time round is not for you. Like we're doing what we want to do. We love sharing. That's the only reason why we do it, because we want to share. We love the community and everything, but sometimes what we want to do may not be what you want to do. So you need to just take note. Maybe you just want to do the notes and interpret them the way, the prompts, the way you want to interpret them. Maybe just do a stitch book and just do each prompt on the page, and don't worry about the field notey part of it. You know, each person, as long as you, like in the Facebook group, as long as you post what, you know, something that has to be related to the prompt, but you can interpret it the way you want to. We thought field notes would be fun. Obviously not for everybody. Interpret it the way you want. Okay. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. This is Lulu's quilt, and I'm super excited about it. It's going to take me forever. Lulu said, oh, I just would love to get it before I finish university. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I've got 5 or 6 years. So that's wonderful. But yeah, it will take me a while to get it done. But I am kind of excited to see how it's going to look. So as it grows, so that will be encouragement to sit down and do a bit. Anyway, thank you for listening to me go on, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again soon. Bye.